We work so you can play.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Warhammer 40k League Battle Report. As always, my name is Jay, and today I am joined by Trevor, and Dan. And it's going to be a lot of fun for you guys. We have another Warhammer 40k game, obviously, because it's a Warhammer 40k game league. If it wasn't Warhammer 40k, it'd be really confusing. Yes. And today we have it's a 1750 game?
1750.
Of your?
Space Marines.
Specifically?
Imperial Fists.
And?
Iron Knights. There we go.
Yes. Against your?
Eldar.
Specifically? Nah, no, that's
There's just Eldar.
Oh yeah, just Eldar. Just checking out. And it's going to be 750 points, and you guys have rolled, and you're doing the Relic, which is everyone's favorite game.
Oh yeah.
Especially for Eldar.
Yeah, especially for Eldar. And it's going to be normal Dawn of War deployment. Excellent. So without further ado, we'll get to the armies and the deployment.
So we'll start off with 1750 points of Iron Knights. As you can see, this is similar to what Trevor's run in the past. It's led by a captain with his 2 relics. One is his armor, one's his gun. He's attached to a squad of 5 veterans, 4 with plasmas and storm shields, and 1 with an apothecary. And they'll be in a drop pod. And then another librarian in Terminator armor with a plasma gun. Devastator Centurions, 2 of them with grav cannons and grav amps, 1 with las cannons. 2 tactical marine squads. A missile launcher in both. In drop pods. Stern Guard veterans in a drop pod as well. And a Storm Raven, fully upgraded. So, Twinling Multi-Multa, assault cannons, and Hurricane Boulder sponsons, extra armor, and locator beacon. So basically a lot of points in that flyer. And that is 1750 points of Iron Knights. And now, 1750 points of Eldar Trickery. Very awesome, regally painted Eldar. So his HQ is a Farseer. It's a level 3, and it has a couple fun powers. I believe it has Doom and Guide. 2 squads of Dire Avengers with no upgrades. They'll be in Wave Serpents with scatter lasers and shuriken cannons and hollow fields. 2 squads of 6 bikes with shuriken cannons, and then shining spears in the back. There's the other squad of bikes that are scoring. Dark Reapers with Starshot missiles and an Exarch with Fast Shot. Squad of Guardians with some platforms, and those platforms are going to be a lot of fun. And those are the Baal's Wrath support battery. And then an Aegis defense line with a quad gun. And that's 1750 points of Eldar. So here's what the board looks like after deployment. They ruled, and Trevor decided to go first. However, he's holding his entire army in reserve because drop pod rules, so they'll all be coming in turn 1, and the rest will be in reserves. So as you can see, there's absolutely no one on that side of the table, and the Eldar player has deployed in normal Dawn of War deployment. And the Relic is in the center of the table, ready to be picked up by either army. Or maybe the Space Marines are just using advanced stealth tactics and you just can't see them. By the way, this is the deployment, and we'll see what happens in turn 1. As you can see, the Eldar player did not want to seize the initiative. And now it's Iron Knights, turn 1. So he starts with the command squad, dropping in, seeing where it ends, and it scatters 6 inches forward, which puts them in a good position. They can block the Relic and shoot the Eldar players. Then he drops his next drop pod right beside them, hoping. Where does it scatter to, though? And it also scatters 9 inches forward, which is a pretty big distance, too, so it'll end up right in front of the bikes. And they deploy as well, with the Librarian in there. So he casts Telekinetic Dome, and it goes off, which basically gives them the cool like Necron shield power that if they have a 5+ invul, and if they pass their invul, it bounces the shot back at your opponent within 6 inches. So he starts shooting at the Eldar heavy weapon platforms. So then he does his focus witchfire power on them. And he fails, so it doesn't go off. And then he shoots the rest of his guns from the squad at them. He needs 6s to wound and 4s to wound. He rolls some of the Eldar saves, and the Eldar player fails his armor saves. Both of them, and both his cover saves, so they both die. And then he fails to hit with his snapfire and drop pod. So it's Eldar turn 1. Right now, he's going to move up all of his forces. He tries to cast Jinx, gets it off, but then Trevor can deny it on a 4+, and he does, so no Jinx. Then he casts Perfect Timing on the Dark Reapers, which make them ignore cover, which is really nasty on Dark Reapers, and it goes off. And then he casts Guide on his Dark Reapers as well, and it goes off as well, so they can reroll and ignore cover, which is pretty nasty. And then finally cast Prescience, and I think it goes off as well. Or Guide. Then he just moves up his forces. Right now his goal is just to surround the Iron Knights that are on the table and destroy them. There's an actual chance that he could probably take out almost all the models in this one turn with all the firepower that Eldar have. And since on 6s, most of their guns do bad things to Space Marines. So, or most armies actually. So we'll see what happens. And so right now his goal is just to encompass them and then fire his Dark Reapers and destroy as much as possible. But in the meantime, get his bikes around his opponent and just shoot them as much as he can to death and then assault him. So he moves up his Wave Serpents as well. But he keeps his guys inside. Then he moves up his other Wave Serpent. And now the Guardians decide to go over the wall. Despite the fact that they're behind an Aegis defense line, he's going to give them some bravery and run them at his opponent so they can just shoot and rapid fire their guns and hopefully get some 6s rolled and maybe you can get through those storm shields for the command squad. The closest guy is his captain, which is his HQ. So he starts firing at them. Needs 3s, of course, to hit. And 4s and 6s, bad things happen. And a lot of wounds, including several rends. So he rolls his armor saves. And on his captain, fails it. No feel, no pain. And the first command squad guy is killed. Sorry, not the captain. The captain is now the closest. So he decides not to look out, sir. So just for his 2-up armor. Passes the first one. Rolls again. He thinks he'll take it on his Iron Halo. So it's a 4-up invul, sorry, in this next one. And he fails it. So as he feel no pain, fails that too. And then the rest of them. And then all the catapult fire is applied next. It goes on the captain. He gets his 2-up armor save and he decides to keep it on the captain thinking he'll pass it. So 2-up armor save, and he fails 2. So he has feel no pain, and he fails both of them. So instantly, the captain is killed, and the Eldar player gets first blood and slay the warlord in one fell swoop. And then the rest of the saves go up on the 3-up guys, and they're both good. So still, he lost the captain and one of the guys, so he just keeps firing at them, right? You focus enough on them and force enough 3-up saves, and they'll fail. So his Wave Serpent goes next, and because the Scatter Lasers hit first, the rest of the guns are twin-linked. It's a bunch of hits, a bunch of wounds. It doesn't matter because either invuls or normal saves are both 3-up since they have Storm Shields. And he Lookout Sirs off the Apothecary for the Rend, and fails the Lookout Sir. So he gets cover, a 4-up cover, a 5-up cover, sorry, on the Apothecary. And he passes Feel No Pain. And then the rest of the saves go on the squad. And he fails 2, so he gets Feel No Pain. And he fails both those. So he tries to Lookout Sir once again off the Apothecary. And fails 1. So the Apothecary is dead, and the closest guy is also dead. So down to one more of the member of the command squad. So next, Dan focuses on one of the drop pods, the one with the scary missile launcher, a pie plate of doom, because since Eldar players really don't like pie plates. And in the end, he gets one glance. Sorry, 2 pens in a glance. He rolls in the pen chart, and it blows up. So the drop pod explodes, and they roll to see if it wounds everyone else around him. And it wounds the Space Marine player, and he fails his armor save. So it explodes. 1 command squad guy is left. And it does 2 pens, and then they shoot at the other drop pod. Sorry, and they get 2 pens. And they roll to see what happens, and it also explodes. So the other drop pod explodes, hitting everyone within 4 inches of it. So they roll again to see who it hurts. And it ends up killing, I think, 1 biker and 1 marine. And Dan keeps firing at that command squad guy, trying to force that 1 save that'll fail. Gets a bunch of more saves on him. He has his 3-up armor / invul and fails it, so the command squad is eliminated entirely. And then the Wave Serpent Turbo Boost in the movement in the shooting phase. And then they just keep shooting the rest of the squad with the Librarian. Right now, there's a chance that Dan could just table Trevor turn 1, which would be very scary. The power of Eldar. So they get a couple rends, a bunch of wounds. He rolls his armor saves and fails most of them. So the first member of the squad is dead. And then he rolls for the rest of them. And loses another member of the squad. So he just keeps firing. Right now there's only 1 target he can fire at, the Librarian squad, so all the Eldar just keep gaining up on it. Force a few more armor saves. They hit their 5-up invul. Now this is the one that if they pass, they actually get to bounce on another person, but they failed all 3 of their 5-up invuls, and then they get all their normal saves. And he passed the first one, passed the second one. So the next squad, they decide to run. They run 1 inch, and then the spears decide to assault the Librarian and the 1 guy. So they overwatch first, and so do the other squad of bikers. And so the overwatch get 1 hit, and a bolter from the Marine misses. So and the wound is saved. They roll 4 inches, which is plenty to get the purple guys in first. They're the ones who declared the assault first, the purple bikers, and then the singing spears afterwards also get in. And that was just the moving through cover, dangerous terrain tests. And then the other squad, they also get in with plenty of distance of 5 inches. The Librarian does challenge, and Dan accepts with the lead spear. So they separate them out. So first, the leader goes and hits on 4s on the Librarian, and wounds on 2s, 1 invul, and Trevor passes it. So he's alive. That would have instant killed the Librarian if he missed it. It would have killed him because he only had, it would have been pretty crazy. So that save alone kept Trevor alive in this turn because nothing else can hurt the Librarian. And then the rest of the bikers just gang up and kill that 1 lonely Space Marine. So in the end, yeah, the 1 passed invul is what kept Trevor alive. And then he passed his, he kept his Librarian alive. His Librarian didn't wound anything back. And then he passed his leadership check to stay in combat. And then they also just turbo boosted.
So after 1 turn, the game's gotten really interesting. Trevor made a really big roll right there. And if he didn't make it, it would have been game. So that's an interesting scenario right there. But hey, so the Eldar moved up and shot and did a lot of stuff, and the Space Marines are gone.
Have you killed anything yet, Trevor?
There are still a lot of Space Marines left on the table in reserve, and we'll see what happens. There's still tons of game left, potentially in turn 2.
Okay.
So now it's Iron Knight's turn 2. So he rolls for reserves to begin with, and the drop pod comes in. Drop pod number 4 comes in. And the Storm Raven. So the tactical squad doesn't come in from off the table edge. And the Storm Raven also comes in. So the drop pod lands and scatters 6 inches towards Trevor. And then drop pod number 4 lands there and scatters a little bit. It basically just stays right there and hits there. And then the Storm Raven comes in at an angle so that it can still light up all those bikes. And at the same time, he dropped his Centurions out using his ability to let them just parachute out. And as long as they don't land in dangerous terrain, they're okay. And they land right on top of terrain. But they'll be okay. That's just in case if the Storm Raven got popped by the quad gun, which will use its interceptor. So the quad gun shoots. Oh, sorry, they do the dangerous terrain first for them. They're okay. And then the quad gun, same time, uses interceptor and shoots at it. Gets 1 hit, but only 1 glance. So that's just it. And it has 2 hull points left. And then they start shooting. So the Centurions start by firing first. Need 3s, of course, to hit. And they hit with pretty much everything. And they shot at the Wave Serpent. So the Wave Serpent, it will be wrecked regardless. And it's a pen. He will get a cover save because he jinked from all the Centurion guns. Because the Wave Serpent did move and I think it has a 3+ jink. So it takes 1. So it will be immobilized. But because it turbo boosted, it was actually a 2+ save, so it's okay. And then the Storm Raven shoots at the Wave Serpent. Gets 1 hit. Now in this part, we did have some friendliness because in the end, he does shoot and does get a pen on the Wave Serpent. However, Dan forgot to mention to Trevor that the Wave Serpent actually negates it on a 2+ and drops it down to a glance. And if so, Trevor would not have shot at it in the first place. So the result was actually an explosion. So Dan was nice enough to let Trevor have the explosion since he didn't explain to him that it would be negated on a 2+ to a glance. So any of you guys out there wondering what happened to it, that's what happened to it. And that's why it wasn't glanced that it actually exploded. And then he rolls to see if it hurts anybody. And they passed. So now the Sergeant and his squad start shooting at the Eldar players as well. This is the... One of them gets hot and he dies. This is in the Sternguard squad. The first guy died because it gets hot. And then he just fires the rest of the veterans. And get a bunch of hits. Pretty much everything else hit at the bikers. And their toughness 4, so 4 is to wound. A bunch of wounds, but they get their jinx save. And fail all of them. So all the bikers die. That saved all 5. So the 5th closest is the leader. So he looks out, serves it on a 4+, and he passes it. So 5 normal bikers die in that squad. Then he snapfires his missile with the other guys at them too. Need 4s and 2s to wound, so gets a bunch of wounds on them. And he rolls the saves, fails it, looks out, sirs, good, and then fails, and then passes the rest. So in the end, it's just the leader left, just the sergeant of that Eldar biker squad alive. And the Dire Avengers, who lost 1 guy or 2 guys in the explosion, failed their leadership check and ran off the board, which is a pretty bad occurrence for the Eldar player. And then everyone else passed their leadership checks back into assault. So the leader of the biker squad gets to go first, gets 2 hits, but needs 5s to wound since only the time where you actually get into combat, the very first turn, your weapon is strong, and the rest of the time it's not very strong. And then he gets hit back, gets 1 wound, but the sergeant passes it, so nothing happens in that combat. So then he tries to hit and run, but fails his hit and run roll. So now it's Eldar, turn 2. So once again, they try to do Psychic Powers Jinx, but on the Librarian, but he denies it. And then he casts the Ignore Cover, and it goes off. And then reroll to hit, and it goes off. Sorry, Perils. So it doesn't pass, and he perils, so he loses a wound off his Farseer. The next he moves up the Wave Serpent. Just to disembark. Actually, decided to go left instead and disembark his guys so that they can go and light up the remaining Stern Guard and kill them. And then the rest of the Guardians move up. And finally, that one remaining bike little guy jumps in there too, so that maybe he can light up some guys and kill some dudes himself. And then the shooting begins, and as you can see, Eldar on a 6 always do nasty things to Marines, and that's what happens. He loses a bunch of cover saves and a couple armor saves, and that entire squad is wiped out instantly by just one squad firing at it. Eldar are pretty nasty against Space Marines, as you can see. And the next, he shoots the drop pod, gets a couple hits, and one pen. Rolls in the pen chart, and it's immobilized. Or immobilized, it counts as an extra hull point, so 1 hull point left of one of the drop pods, as you can see on that one right there. So then he battle focuses at the same time and runs the guys 6 inches up, so they can get in better range, and they all start shooting as well at those other Marines. So he hit on 3s, of course, and then wound on 4s and 6s. Ouch. So he rolls his saves, fails one of his armor saves, and then on top of that fails one of his covers, so he loses 2 Marines in the end. And then they fire at the Storm Raven, and likely they're twin linked on with the Dark Reapers, and they get 2 hits. On those 2 hits, he decides not to jink, and decides not to evade. And in the end, gets only 1 glance total, which knocks it down to 1 more hull point left on the Storm Raven. And then they fire once again at the Storm Raven. He'll decide to jink in this one, but gets several hits. He does try to jink, fails some of his jinks, and a pen. And the pen makes it explode, and it lands there and crashes to the ground. So next he moves up his Dire Avengers and his Guardians, and they're just going to move around and continue to shoot at the Space Marines. So they assault the drop pod. Nothing happens. And then back into close combat. And basically nothing happens in the close combat whatsoever. They can't hurt the Librarian. Librarian doesn't hurt them. But then he passed his hit and run. And he rolled 11 inches. So the Shining Spear squad is able to get out of close combat, when the purple squad is not. And they'll all now be able to gang up on the Librarian next turn.
So here's what the board looks like after 2 turns. This game's going crazy. Heavy casualties on both sides. Flyers dead. HQs are dead. Things are dead. More than one thing has died and it's dead. So here's what the board looks like. Eldar continuing to go. Space Marines are holding on. The Relic is being held by a Space Marine. That drop pod is toast. Those guys haven't done anything yet. We'll still see what happens in turn 3.
So now it's Iron Knight's turn 3. Trevor tries to respond. And he rolls for reserves, and the tactical squad at the end of the table come in. Tiny tactical squad. Maybe they'll go for the objective. And then that one squad runs for the objective to grab it. So he picks it up, and so right now the Eldar player has to go and hunt those guys down, because otherwise they'll score and they'll win 3-2. Unless the Eldar player can get Linebreaker. Then he moves up his Centurions, just through cover, and then they kind of fall down and then move 3 inches. They move 3 inches down, 3 inches over. And then the Centurions decide to fire at the Dire Avengers, with the leader split firing at the Wave Serpent. And those Hurricane Bolters are really nasty against Eldar, because since they have so many shots, and they wound on 3s, and the other ones will wound on 4s, because their armor save is 4+. And in the end, he gets a lot of wounds, which will force 5-up covers, and he's debating whether or not to go to ground. He decides not to go to ground right now, just to keep them alive. And they fail all 6 of their cover saves, and pretty much most of the squad is wiped out instantly. And then he gets to fire the las cannon at the Wave Serpent, misses the first one, twin linked, hits on the second one, and he passed his split fire check, and it's a glance, but he gets to re-roll the glance, and he got the same glance, unfortunately. So nothing happens there, and he passes cover save anyway. So then the Space Marines fire a Pie Blade of Doom on top of the Eldar. From that squad, that was the frag missile round. That was the Pie Plate. And in the end, he gets a bunch of hits on them, of course, and they only need 3s to wound because Eldar are pretty not tough. And he gets a bunch of wounds, so he rolls his armor saves and cover saves, and in the end loses a good about 4 or 5 guys from the squad. He did go to ground for that extra 6 up cover, or sorry, on a couple shots. But it doesn't really help, and the squad is knocked down to about half the size it was originally. And they roll their leadership check, and they're good. And then the other one do their leadership check, and they failed last time, but this time they pass, which is good. Now back into combat, the whole squad gets to go now on top of the librarian. And they need 4s to hit, because they're weapon skill 4. Get a few hits, a couple wounds, and he rolls his armor saves, and fails 1. So the librarian is down to 1 more wound. Then he hits back, gets 2 hits. But no, sorry, 1 wound, and he failed his combat. So tied combat, nothing happens. It's Eldar turn 3. So once again, he tries to cast Jinx on that squad. Goes off. And he denies again. Trevor's just really good at denying the powers today. Then he casts Ignore Cover on this, and it goes off, and Twin Linking also goes off. So basically right now, those Dark Reapers are going to go and light up those Space Marines. And the rest of the bikes jump up. They're also going to just try to kill those Space Marines if any of them are left and assault them to take away the Relic from them. And the Wave Serpent also advances up to shoot at the Centurions. So they start shooting at those Space Marines. And as you can see here, the Dark Reapers alone are going to do some serious damage into them, since they're wounding on 2s and just destroying them. And there goes half the squad because they ignore cover, no cover saves, and 6 guys in the squad are instantly killed by it. And then he rolls his armor saves, and all but 1 guy, and the other guy dropped the Relic. And then they keep shooting at him. As you can kind of predict what's going to happen, whole squad's gone, and they drop the Relic, other than that 1 guy so far. And then they're going to keep shooting at him, and he's dead. And there's the Relic out on its own. And the last scoring unit's over there, so they start shooting at that squad then. Because if they can just wipe out all of his troops, Dan will essentially win the game, since he has first blood and slay the Warlord, and the other guy can't pick up the Relic. So they shoot, get 1 rend, 1 wound, and take out a member, and he passes other saves. So he's lost a member of that 1 tactical squad, and they just keep shooting at him. That's the thing about Eldar. They just have so much shooting and so much maneuverability, and on 6s, it's basically equivalent of rending for most of their guns. So he rolls and loses another 3 of them, so everyone left but the heavy guy. And he fails his leadership, but only moves 2 inches back. And then moves up his biker. So then he tries to do the assault on him, and he fails his distance. So he fails his leadership check, so he's removed from play because the Eldar player was able to catch him, and then he failed his leadership check, which made him just disappear off the table, unfortunately. And then the bikers just move up. Also during the assault phase, they just do their Eldar movement turbo boost. Back into combat. So they all attack on the librarian, get several hits, a couple wounds, but nothing happens there. And then he...
Alright, so here, I like hitting the Devastators. So here's what the battlefield looks like after turn 3. It's only turn 3, this game's a thing. As you can see, Eldar taking heavy casualties. Space Marines taking heavy casualties. My favorite dudes right there, that everyone loves the model. Right there, they're still alive. Full strength. We'll see what happens. This combat, nothing's happened. You've killed 1, he's killed 1. That drop pod's still alive, I think.
Yes, it is.
That's awesome. And the Eldar continue to move. And we'll see what happens in turn 4.
So now it's Iron Knight's turn 4. There's not that many options left. All is left are the Centurions and the drop pod. Drop pod fires first. Centurions fire at the bike second. And he's going to try to split fire his last cannon at the 1 biker who is right now getting line breaker. So he shoots the twin-linked bolters and the grav guns at the spears, the shining spears. Get pretty much everything hits. And 3s to wound. And he rolls his saves. And loses the one guy, unfortunately, because of the shooting on him. And then the rest of the grav gun shots, that was the last cannon shots and the storm bolter on that one guy. And then all the grav gun shots on the shining spears. And as you can see, there's a lot of them, as well as all the bolter shots. And in the end, makes 7 4-ups. And he passes 6 out of the 7. So he only loses one guy due to all that grav gun fire thanks to his jinx save. That's pretty nice. And then back to the close combat in which the librarian's in. And once again, all those bikers gang up on the one librarian. Needing 4s to hit. And 4s to wound. Or 5s to wound. I don't remember the strength. 5s to wound. Get a few wounds. And he fails his armor save. So the librarian is killed. And he loses his librarian. And there's not that many guys left for the Iron Knights. And now it's Eldar, turn 4. Right now, Dan just wants to go grab that objective and wipe out the Centurions. And that's pretty much good game. So he moves up his bikers. They are going to go and pick up the objective. And then with the Shining Spears, he's going to go for the Centurions. And then with the Wave Serpent, he also moves up there to pick on those Centurions as well, since he has the scatter lasers to twin link his shuriken catapults. And just moves up everything. Starts firing at those Centurions. That's the thing. So 3s to hit. Hits with all of them. With the heavy weapon. Yep. And some wounds. He rolls his saves. And loses one guy already. And then shoots the scatter laser from the Wave Serpent at them. And kills them all. So they go to ground, just for a 6-up a cover save. Fail both. And then for their armor saves on the other one, as you can see, he just forced a lot of saves. And he fails it too. So he just keeps shooting. And forces a couple saves, and he's dead. And that's it. So then just to put a little icing on the cake, shoots at the drop pod, and destroys the drop pod as well, because it's open topped and it explodes. So we'll see how far it explodes. Just hurt his own guys, maybe to scare away his own guys, and it doesn't hurt the bike, and it hurts they roll for the 5 guys, gets 2 of them. He rolls armor saves, and that's it. And now that's pretty much the game. Here's what the table looks like at the end of the game. And since he has the relic and Trevor doesn't have any guys left on the table, it is a complete tabling, or as I call it, jabling. It's a hearty handshake, an awesome game overall, and it is an Eldar victory. So thank you very much for watching this Warhammer 40k League Battle Report. And if you want to see more Warhammer 40k League Battle Reports, click on the link below for a free 7-day trial to the MiniWarGaming Vault. Not only will you get to see this battle report, you'll also get to see many other Warhammer 40k battle reports, as well as more Warhammer 40k tutorials and videos. So until next time, this is Jay saying, happy wargaming, everyone.